All right, everyone's mics on. Got it. Thanks. All right, we're going to go ahead and get started. Good evening, everybody. We are here for the June 23rd, 2025 regular city commission meeting starting at 6 o'clock. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, we now move to approval of the agenda. What is the pleasure of the commission?
I move to approve the agenda as presented.
Support. All right, Abby, call the roll.
Mayor Thomas,
Yes.
Commissioner Binkley,
Yes.
Commissioner Sorolla,
Yes.
Commissioner Ulrey,
Yes.
Commissioner Fernandez.
Yes.
All right, we have a Silver Beach County Park update. We have a special guest. Welcome to the front.
I invited Chuck Height, Sheriff of Berrien County, to speak about some issues that we're having.
Microphone's not.
We got it.
Is it on?
It was on our side.
I invited Sheriff Chuck Height, Berrien County Sheriff Department, to come here tonight to talk about the issues that we've been having at Silver Beach County Park. Just want to advise you that the relationship between the Sheriff Department and the City of St. Joseph has never been stronger. We are going to meet later this week, probably tomorrow, to discuss some improvements at Silver Beach that we can make. And Sheriff Height will talk about the incidents that occurred.
Thank you. So last night, you may have heard, between 7:45 and 8 o'clock, we had a large crowd come down to Silver Beach. They began to be unruly, and there was a physical fight that started between two of the individuals. So our staff that was assigned to Silver Beach took action, contacted obviously for St. Joe. Your units responded very quickly, along with other units, our afternoon shift and others. So we'll continue to look at that. As you know, we've had some of these issues before. In ways we can look at that, we're working with our corporate counsel to look at the current ordinance that's at for Silver Beach and ways we may be able to change some things when it comes to trespassing, other issues. I've authorized for what we call 90-day misdemeanors, disturbing peace, to be lodged in jail. For that, and we'll look at the juvenile issue, working with the juvenile center, and just trying to hold people accountable for the actions. It's a beautiful park. We want families to be able to enjoy the park and hold people accountable that aren't abiding by either state laws or the ordinances that are in place at Silver Beach to make it a family-friendly park. And we'll continue to work with our parks director, your staff, Director Newbecker, in ways we can do to improve that. So, thank you.
Thank you. Any questions or? No. All right. Well, thank you for being here for tonight's meeting and for filling us in. And thank you both departments for keeping our community safe.
Yeah, just one quick question.
Sure, yes.
Seems like when this came up a year or two ago, we found that there was, some of the stuff was pre-announced on social media. Has there been any of that this year? Is that something I'm sure you guys are tracking?
So there is some monitoring. What I can't say for last night is there was some indication there may whether there was that group that was involved in it. That's one of the reasons we're looking at some trespassing issues. If we have somebody that's been there before involved in it, to be able to trespass them from the beach. Obviously, it's a county park, it's a public park, making sure we abide by civil rights. But if there's a way we can trespass someone, especially those that are looking at doing the organization of those type of events, we're looking to do that.
Okay. Thank you. All right, that moves us along to public comment. This is for items that are on the consent agenda or not on the agenda. Please come on up to the podium, limit your comments to 3 minutes, and state your name and address.
My name is Kim Bowman, 360 Lake Street, St. Joe, and I live right across the street from the county park. It's absolutely lovely down there. I would like to make sure that the county takes accountability for rules and regulations that need to go on there. If the rules currently set in the house are not working, then they need to put some curfews on when people have to leave. We do not want these fights at the beach to be discoloring our city's reputation. It's not just us down there in that neighborhood, it's our entire city. We go through this every year. I don't know what it takes to set rules at the county. Say at 5 o'clock, if you're 17 and younger, you need to be with someone supervised. At 8 o'clock or after that, then you gotta go home. Because you've got two officers down there from the county. They cannot handle all of this when you get groups coming down there. And number two, we have young kids that work at the county beach. If there is a mob of kids, these officers, number one, can't handle it. If I had a 18-year-old, I wouldn't let them work down there. It's not safe. So I'm just saying to the county, who's hopefully Sheriff House is still here, we need to have the county make some rules. And if the county doesn't make the rules, the city has to make some rules. And after 5 o'clock, if this is going to persist, then you don't let people go down there. You say that's it, because they have to comply, and we need to not be diplomatic any longer with the county. We need to expect them to get this under control. I am not saying anything bad about our city police or about the sheriff. I can't imagine what they have to handle in this county or in this city. I hear the sirens going off all the time. But if we don't set rules in our city to not allow this to go on down there, then it's just as much your fault as it is the county. So that's really what I'm gonna say. Thank you.
Thank you.
Tim Johnson, 1919 Forest Avenue. I have a commitment, otherwise I would have stayed. Diddles on what she said. I want to thank those of you who responded with your positive responses to my letter about the downtown parking. On item 12, you're talking about spending $60,000 on somebody to do a search using SS4A. I don't know what that is. Why can't the police look at accident and why can't they look at accident and incident reports to see what's going on in the area, what's dangerous and what's not, and and walk the city streets, walk around, drive around, and use a little bit of common sense rather than spending $60,000 for somebody to do a study on something that you may or may not adopt in the future. Item 17 is, I support that resolution as it's written. On item 18, the brownfield, why hasn't the city's brownfield redevelopment authority been meeting? They've been in existence for years, is what the packet said. And they're talking about potential projects on the horizon. What are those projects? Again, I cannot see spending $50,000 for somebody to look into this when it just seems like I just question the amount being spent and why you're doing it. Thank you.
Thank you. Other public comment?
Quick question, is this where we're talking about paid parking?
That is later. Yep. Mhm.
I got some new things.
Absolutely. Come on up.
Today when I was walking, my friend Becky from the Whitcomb, I'm Cindy from Upton Drive,
Mhm.
Hagler, and anyway, they seem to now, they've covered the end of the sidewalk. Okay, we got the one little sidewalk, it gets wider, but down by the beach, it's narrow. Okay, they put a new, this is hard to explain, a new little sidewalk spurring off to the parking lot. But they covered the end, so if you're coming from the beach and you're gonna try to go back to town, you have to go with the cars into the parking lot to get it back on the sidewalk. It's absurd. It's a big pile and it's like it's not supposed to be there. It's like they just shoveled it up there with some rock and everything. But you know, my friend, she didn't even know where to go because she doesn't see good.
And so if she wasn't with me, I mean, we were right beside the cars, not the cars that come in, but in the parking lot. We had to go around and come in.
So this is in the park, in Silver Beach Park?
Well, no, it's that sidewalk. That's not in the park, no.
In front of
When
it.
you come, right.
In front of
When
it.
you come, when you come down from the carousel,
Okay.
that sidewalk. It comes straight down,
On Broad Street?
only it stops.
Oh, I know what you're talking
Yeah.
about, where where that south entrance is into the park, you have to cross the entrance to get to the sidewalk on the south side.
No, on the north side. Yeah, you would have to.
Yeah.
But this one is just the whole north side. They blocked off that other side. But this is a new thing. They piled the sand up there. And they're forcing you to go over to the parking lot to get back on that sidewalk. It's just crazy. So you'd have to see it.
Mhm.
Okay, I got maybe a minute. Unkempt stairs by the Whitcomb. I've talked about the broken stair there before. And then there's a great big prickly weed. This is an area that people travel right across from the Whitcomb. No, the city doesn't do anything with it. Nothing. It's like it isn't even there. So anyway, need to look at that. And then, the city is strict on the sidewalks, but what about the overpatched roads where they've patched them for years and years and years? Court Street's the worst. And that's the main one coming up from like the courthouse, you come up into town. So the asphalt is partially over the brick and then you leave holes and craters. It should have never done that way. That was a quick fix done who knows how many years ago. That pavement needs to come off of there and they should have repaired the brick to start with, you know? So it's just a mess. I mean, you can fall and break your ankle coming out of, I've said out of the Toesies or coming up the side of Whitcomb, any of that. It's the roads.
Thank you.
If they were just as strict with, as they are with the sidewalks.
Thank you.
Thanks,
All
Cindy.
right. Any other public comment? All right, see.
We got one more.
Oh, sorry, thank you.
Thanks, Steve.
Thank you. I am wondering for a while now if anything is in the future planned to smooth out that walkway next to the stairs going down to the beach. If that ramp is ever planned to be a little bit more smoothed out so that wheelchairs can go up and down. It's pretty dangerous right now.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. And could we get your name and address as well?
Wilma Phoenix. And I live at Lakeview Terrace.
Thank you.
Thank you, Wilma.
Thank you.
Any other public comment? All right, seeing none, we will move along to the consent agenda. Items include the regular meeting minutes of Monday, June 9th, 2025, new board appointment and tax and invoice and tax disbursements. What is the pleasure of the commission?
I move to approve the consent agenda as presented.
I support.
All right, Abby, call the roll. Commissioner Binkley,
Yes.
Commissioner Sorolla,
Yes.
Commissioner Ori,
Yes.
Commissioner Fernandez.
Yes.
Mayor Thomas.
Yes.
All right, item number 8 in old business, we are on the downtown parking program update and pause. Can you take it? this
So
one? Okay.
I can kick this one off. Just wanted to give a quick update on where we are since we last spoke about this. I think it was in the last meeting. It feels like they're getting hard to keep straight at this point, but in the last meeting, we announced a pause on the downtown parking program. We said that we had identified ADA issues that needed to be addressed and that we would spend the time during that pause also talking to downtown businesses to get input. What?
And residents.
And residents, that's exactly right. Downtown residents and residents in general. So first on the ADA, we immediately brought on Abbenmarsh to take a look at the pay stations and compliance with ADA regulations. They actually came in and started the day after we announced that pause. They have done a full review of the pay stations in the downtown. They have identified where and how, along with our team, where and how we could relocate those pay stations to be in compliance. So we have a report from them. Our team has been going out to look at if any pads need to be poured or anything else. So we're getting our arms very quickly around that. In addition, we started by reaching out to the downtown businesses. We compiled a list of 103 businesses located in the downtown. At this point, we have held 28 meetings with those downtown businesses. We have 11 more scheduled. We've contacted 59 businesses that we have either not yet heard back from or have not yet pinned down a time. And we are still tracking down contact info, or we'll just be walking into 5 additional businesses, which gets us coverage of the entire 103. The next step, when we come up for air from that, we'll be looking at downtown residents to meet with. And we have started talking to some residents, but we'll be reaching out to more. So that's where that stands. I know there's also been a lot of concern about the pause and the length of the pause, and I'll kick it back to Mike to speak about that.
If I can borrow your computer. Yeah. So got a slow boot up going here. So at the last meeting, when we did put the pause on, I fielded several questions, as did many other commissioners, about why there was not an official motion to pause the parking. It was procedural. I think there was information from our city attorney that it was not necessary, but certainly it's something we can do, and I think it would make residents feel better. So at this time, we are gonna make a motion to do just that officially. So I move to place the downtown parking program on hold as staff reviews ADA compliance issues and continues to gather feedback from downtown businesses.
I support. Okay, I guess we can move to public comment on the matter.
We have to vote on that. Or-
Mm-mm. Parking, yep.
Nancy, 313 Main Street Revive Spa. I just want to give a little update. First of all, I would like to say that my April sales were up 6% from April of 24, and my May sales should have reflected that, but it was down 27%. Overall, June is still down 21%, mostly due to the paid parking that was in the beginning. We are bouncing back, but those sales are lost forever, okay? I am still paying my May bills for my business. I should get cut off this month, but this means I personally will probably get about 1/3 of what I should get. And for those of you that weren't here, I didn't get paid in May, and most of the downtown businesses were not able to pay themselves in May. So how many of you can go up without a paycheck for a month and then get 30% of your paycheck the next month? Okay, many mom and pop shops, we are pulling from our rainy day funds here in the summer when we should be adding to our rainy day funds. And these newer businesses, I've been around 20 years, I have a rainy day fund. These newer businesses, they don't have a rainy day fund, and I will be shocked if they make it. Personally, I busted a strut in this damn parking lot over here. I got a $1,000 bill coming, okay? I need a new AC unit for my house, there's $5,000. You know, I am pulling from my personal savings. The bottom line is we have got to have a rockin' summer here in sales for these businesses to survive the upcoming off season. Perennial Accents has $200,000 in Christmas goods coming. You think that woman's sleeping at night? I doubt it. Where's the damage control? How are we going to get people back here? I think the people have spoken on paid parking. The businesses can't survive. The downtown residents are fighting for parking. The locals won't come. The local tourists, people within an hour, they're saying they're not coming. The regular tourists, they're not happy, vowing not to return. This needs to be gone forever, okay? Past city councils have said there will never be paid parking in this downtown, and that promise needs to be taken seriously. This city has spent a lot of money on this program. The last meeting, we had a report that the businesses downtown has lost over $1 million over that 3-week experiment, okay? This is close to a $2 million mistake, and we can't make it again. We need to figure out how to get some money back out of these stupid machines, and they need to be done forever. Emily, you've asked to meet with me. I lost 50% of my sales staff. Okay? I'm terrified to even try to hire somebody. I had to call them off and they quit. Okay, so now I'm paying catch up on bills. I can't afford to hire anybody because I'm paying catch up on bills anyways. I don't have time to meet. I'm working like a dog. Okay? And I need you to give me another row of parking here. You have 40 parking spots for me, for Affinity, for the marketplace, for Silver Harbor's lunch crowd, for the bankers, the lawyers, the therapists, the realtors. Where are our guests supposed to park? If you would patrol that lot, you would get some damn tickets. Okay, I walk that lot twice a day, just going back and forth to my car, and every single time I see somebody parked over a line. I mean, let's patrol what we have, and you can make plenty of money on the tickets. Just make the offense not worth doing it again. Thank you.
Thank you. Look at that timing.
I brought my own egg timer. Okay, the topic that I came up with is feedback. I heard people up here say, we really appreciate your feedback. I can't really understand that you get bashed for an hour and a half, and you appreciate it. I don't find that to be true at all. Let's just talk. And let's do a little play acting. I get real tired of Commissioner this, yes, Commissioner. So here we go. How has the paid parking been doing? Binkley, no, it's not successful. Fernandez, no, it's not successful. Sorolla, no, it's not successful. Thomas, not successful. Ulrich, not successful. There's 5 no's. You never hear no. Never. All right. Free parking for St. Joe residents all the time, every day, all the time, anywhere. All right. Binkley, yes. Free parking for residents. Fernandez, yes. Sorolla, yes. Thomas, yes. Last one, yes. And then there's tons of signs all over St. Joe, just tons of signs. Which my cousin was telling me about a song, I think back in the 60s. It goes like this. Everywhere a sign, blocking out the scenery, breaking my mind. Do this, don't do that. Can't you read the sign? All over St. Joe. Sand. Is there any truth to the rumor that we're gonna cover the North Pier with sand so people only walk on the South Pier? I'm wondering if you're gonna do that next. That might be a good solution, because we're really in the sand on sidewalks lately. And then I think back and I look out in the hall at all these former St. Joe mayors and all this. Think of this, Waldo Tiscornia, Cliff M. Long, Franklin Smith, Bill Gillespie, Tom Sparks, Jeff Richards, Mary Goff. I think most of them would be abhorred the shape the city is in right now. They would be absolutely disgusting. And then I'm walking down Lake Boulevard and I go up the viaduct and I see Ben King, the statue. And I say, geez, he's got a tear coming down his face. And then I look at
There you go. You're like timers.
Look at the doughboy, and he's got a tear coming down his face. And then right at the bottom of Ben King's statue, it says, oh, give me a spot I once used to know or park at by the river of Old St. Joe. So there you are. Still, we're gonna have 8 million more meetings and talk and talk. Maybe we'll see white smoke coming out of the chimney. Free parking in St. Joe.
Thank you. Other comments? Anyone else?
Good want to follow that.
It's a tough one.
Jessica Chabot, 403 State Street, Unit 4, and I'm here. I'm frustrated. You just said you had 28 meetings with people. You got 11 lined up. I can't get an email back. I can't get a call. I can't get a text. I can't get a meeting. And I've tried almost every single avenue that I can possibly do. Plus, by the way, this is our 1-year anniversary of me being on this topic.
and being here every 3 weeks, and I just want to do a little anniversary tour. Remember when I came down and said this isn't gonna be handicap compliable and that you need to fix your stuff? And I sent an email and everything saying, hey, do you need anyone on the committee that can help you make sure that this happens? Because the town is obligated to self-regulate. Okay, so then let's go through some headlines that I've been a part of. No longer stuck in the park. By the way, this is our paper anniversary. St. Joe alters part of paid parking program. Free parking for St. Joe residents. A pause on paid parking. And lastly, Mailmax, Moody in the Market, paid parking pause, a time for peace or a redouble opposition. And you know what? Isn't that on the money? Because I tell you what, our condo association is redoubling the opposition. You are not listening to us. You will not take a meeting with us. And it is absolutely ridiculous, especially when we are the ones literally on the corner there. I tell you what, none of you would have made it in 103-degree heat if you had kept this parking schlepping across town a few times a day. This is ridiculous. You know it. You know it doesn't work. And damn it, we should be listened to.
Thank you.
Oh. Sorry about the sign that. $20 on Amazon, by the way.
Sean Hill, City of St. Joe. I think we can all tell, sorry I haven't been here last few weeks. I'm sure you guys have all missed me probably. But just wanted to say it's obvious that the experiment didn't work. And it's obvious with the residents that live here and the businesses. Appreciate the pause, but to me, it's not good enough. There should be a motion to totally get rid of this whole thing altogether. This isn't our town. We're not Chicago. We're not New York. We don't want to be them. We do love the visitors in town. We love having them here, but that's why they come here. And I've said that before. That's why they come here, to get away from the big city stuff. We're not that. My thing is, if you need the money, which I haven't been, from what I understand, the parking money it's going right to the DDA, which I've said before has no oversight. And so, I mean, we don't have any say as city residents where that money's gonna go. There is no oversight. So that's a thing I have actually a problem with. I was sold as it was gonna help with some of the big projects, you know, like the City Street, Main Street project and all that other stuff downtown. And and it sounded like you guys need the money for like debt and stuff too. But as far as I'm concerned, it's a bad idea to be having it go right into basically a slush fund and there's no oversight. So my thing is, I think you should be brave enough, Mr. Sorolla, and make the motion, amend your motion, and make it to get rid of the thing altogether. It didn't work. It affected our small businesses. And if you really care about our small businesses in town, which have been here a long time, you heard Nancy talking. She's been here for over 20 years. Let's do it for their sake. Let's do it for the sake of our residents who don't appreciate all the cars in front of their houses now that Emily keeps promoting. Park in front of the houses that are not paid. You do. You said that in one of the previous meetings.
It's paused now.
Well, I'm just saying, that's what she did suggest, you know, park out in the neighborhoods. Well, our residents don't want that either. You know, some of them are hard to get around, so they want to park out in front of their house during the day, period. And we pay taxes, so why can't we park out in front of our house? No, we have to go find a spot down the road, park in front of our house. So all I can say is make the motion, get rid of it altogether. Let's be done with this. We don't have to be on you guys other than just to make sure you're taking care of our tax money in the right way, which I question a lot of things. If you're only taking 12 million in, live within your means. We all have to, in this room, make adjustments with our own budgets. We have to live within our means. If that's all you're taking in, then I suggest you take a hard look at your own budget and make cuts where you need to, whether it be employees or maybe some of the crazy services. I've been talking to some other people in the townships, and they were kind of taken back. And we had actually 2 building inspectors for our city, and I mean, you know, they kind of question, why do you have two building inspectors? So maybe we need to take a look at each category and renegotiate all that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Other comments? Anyone else? Anyone else? Go ahead.
Well, I just wanted to say, you know, when you do make the decision, just please think of this. Don't complicate things. You can't show people where to park. People will get so discouraged, they just won't come. And they just get confused. See, you come to town and you want to just park where you need to park. So if you decide whatever you're gonna do, I mean, I think the meters should be gone, yes. They should have never come. You should cut your losses and I don't know what to do. I'm not in that know-how. But the thing of it is, you just don't want to complicate things. And think how long you'd be paying these ambassadors, how many years? I mean, generation after generation would have to be trained. Now they're on payroll. Now you've got 2 police officers going around in pairs giving tickets. That alone is a red flag. It's like horrible. Who wants to go to a town where the police are going around ticketing? You go, oh, well, I'm not sure if I should be parking here. You know, no, it's very, very complicated. And I'm a smart woman. So if I say it's complicated, it's complicated. So anyway, then I guess the other things I want to say is that other towns have been trying to think about this too. I have family over in South Haven and some in Holland. And, you know, let's just be like my t-shirt says, one of a kind. Let's be different. Let's don't be sucked into all this new stuff. These meters weren't designed for downtown. They just are trying to get business. That's what they wanted you to think. They're designed for parks and beaches where you see them when you enter, not throughout town where you got to search. Oh, there's more than one. Oh, gee, where do I go? It's just not, they're not designed for that. Meters were the meters that went in front of cars. They still have those if you must have them, and they take credit cards or coins. But, yeah, I don't know. I got other stuff, if I could just remember them. I think it's a lot of weight on your shoulders. I mean, your credentials aren't any better than mine, and I've built 4 houses and I've owned 30 houses. But to decide the things you're deciding for an entire city and how to spend on these meters, oh, no. That's too much for your shoulders. That's too much. You should just, like I say, abolish the idea. You tried. I'm not saying you have to be old to have credentials. I'm just saying you have to think about all the ramifications. There have been, and you've seen them. I mean, they're more than I could even think would be the case. When I first heard, that's why I didn't come to the meetings last year. I thought they were just little meters, you know, but I had no idea it was going to be like this. So I'm sure you didn't either. So I feel for you guys, really. But I don't think it's any shame to say, I mean, you want your city to be happy and you can have all the meetings you want, but I don't think you've had a half a dozen people say, oh, gee, I'm just thrilled to have meters, you know? So, I mean, it's taking a lot of your time and a lot of everyone's time, right? And it's making a lot of stress. So, I don't know. I don't think I can't even get my 3 minutes in tonight. Yeah, but that going around giving tickets and the ambassadors, that gets me. And then, and I think the tax dollars could be more wisely used, you know, like I said, if you walk, just try walking, everybody. Just walk through all our streets, the sidewalks and the streets, and you'll see it's not as well kept as it should be. You do. I've seen you, Michelle. So thank you.
Thank you. Other comments?
Am I on? I don't think I'm on.
You're
I
on.
don't hear myself talking. Am I?
Mhm.
Oh, I am now. Okay. I just want to make a positive comment on how happy everyone has been since you have paused the parking. It was an overnight change at our store. We went from having many empty parking lots and many angry and frustrated customers to having full parking lots and joy. It was just thrilling to see how happy the customers were to be able to come back into the store. And they didn't say it as in, we're glad to be back here, or we're glad we don't have to pay. But a lot of the seniors were saying, we just couldn't come down here before. So the parking machines were inhibiting them. It was keeping them from feeling like they could come down because they didn't know how to use these parking machines. And they were afraid that they would use them wrong or park in the wrong space or park too long or watching their watches as to when they could have to run back out to their cars. They were just like children. They were just so thrilled to be able to come down to the store. And it was so exciting watching how much the downtown St. Joe is a community hub. It's like a sappy thing to say, but it's like a Hallmark movie to come downtown. Everybody gets to see their friends. They were hugging each other. They were very excited. And I just want to say that the parking pause just made people very happy to be able to just freely be able to come down, shop, enjoy their town, have that cup of coffee, watch the sunset, hang out with their friends out on the bluff. And, it was just a lighthearted feeling. And my co-employees feel the same way. They're just happy to see everybody back down there because it was really sad when they weren't coming in. So I just want to say that the pause really has made a lot of people very happy. So I thank you for that.
And can we get your name as well? Name and address?
Wendy Baker.
Thank you.
2346 Merrill Drive in Ben Harbor, St. Joseph Township. Work at Gene and Variety.
Thank you. All right.
Debbie Johnson, 1919 Forest. I just echo what the other lady said. It was so nice to be downtown and seeing people there again. And I hope that the commission would seriously consider making this permanent and spend their time, money, and resources on an alternative to the parking rather than whether or not to have it, decide not to have it and figure out ways to increase enforcement of the parking rules that you have right now, increase the fines, do something about beachgoers that take up parking spots. I would rather you focus your time, money, and energy on that than on continuing to trying to figure out how to implement the paid parking program. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments?
And Barnes at 608 Market Street. Wendy, that was awesome because there is happiness and joy in town again. The town is back to life. As a resident in the neighborhood, right on the edge there on Market Street, we got a view of the parking lots, we've got a view of the streets, and then our neighborhood, there is joy in town again. There is life in town again. So this pause has been a blessing. So thank you, and I do pray that you keep it permanent. Because it's just been a delight, a true delight. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Other comments? All right, seeing none. We had a motion, we had a second, so I guess we move to a vote. Yep. All right, Abby, call the roll.
Commissioner Sorolla,
Yes.
Commissioner Ori,
Yes.
Commissioner Fernandez,
Yes.
Mayor Thomas,
Yes.
Commissioner Binkley.
Yes.
All right, thank you. On to item number 9, special event application steps for recovery 5K walk and run.
Hi,
Hello.
Hi.
my name is Peter Sando. I am the Executive Director of the Restoration House in Benton Harbor. It's a year-long transitional living home for men coming out of jail, rehab, who've struggled with substance abuse problems throughout their life. We have had partners such as the county has partnered with us and helped funding this. Honor Credit Union, the YMCA, Berrien County Drug Treatment Court. So these are just some of the partners we have that work hands-on with the individuals to help them get where they need to be in life. We opened our doors in October and be very successful. Since that time, we've only had one positive drug screen and we have had 10 men in and we are at capacity. And so we would like to keep this going. We would like to have a yearly event called the Restoration Walk to fundraise money to help this, but it's more than just fundraising money to help this, right? This is also a 5K for these men struggling with addiction, right? For these men that can't break free, for these men that are first timers walking through the door, for these men that will never come back, right? So it's advocating for all of that and giving these people hope in their lives, right? And then on top of that, so not only the men, there's another nonprofit coming up for women called Heart of God. And so this walk, we will partner with them and split the proceeds 50-50 with them to help them get up and running so they can do the same thing for women. So is that,
Thank you.
Great,
Yeah,
yeah.
that sounds like
Great.
a
Do
do you have
wonderful
any
program.
questions?
For the women's program, is that also going to be local?
It'll be in Benton Harbor as well.
It will be, okay.
Yep.
Okay. And
So-
what, go ahead.
And just for right now, like the YMCA, we focus on mind, body, and spirit, right? And also financial literacy. That's what the Honor Credit Union is doing and helping us with budgeting with the men and starting bank accounts for the first time. Michigan Works helping with apprenticeship programs and case manage it with the men. The YMCA, personal training, fitness, health benefits, right? Eating healthy choices. They each have a personal trainer they work with twice a week and go there 3 times a week. Right, but that's free, not free, right?
Right.
And so to keep all of this going, right, we are taking other steps as well to get accredited nationally through this, but in the meanwhile, it'd be nice to have this every year annually. And it will be in September, a Recovery Awareness Month.
Mm-hmm.
And so
And this will be the first year that you're holding it?
this will be the first year,
Wonderful.
correct?
Okay. Questions from the commission?
Are they from Berrien County or from all over? It can be, they can come
Most
from-
residents are from Berrien County, that the guest in the house. I do have one guest from the Detroit area, but besides that, they're all local. And they're all just excelling in the recovery, and it's quite the opportunity and blessing to be able to witness.
And they come directly to you from the jail setting and,
So if they're in jail, I ask that they go to rehab first, and the county has let me come inside the jail and make these phone calls
Mhm.
with the individuals to get them, SWIMBA to get approved with Medicaid and into Sacred Heart. And then from inpatient rehab, they'll come to our outpatient setting. And then we also partner with Riverwood, and that's where they do all of their outpatient and substance abuse therapy. It's just group therapy, individual therapy, and that's typically 9 to 12 months long.
Oh.
So through the duration of our program, they'll be with the professionals at Riverwood
Wow.
getting
Mhm.
therapy.
Great. Thank you.
well, as a social worker in the community, thank you for the work that you do and serving our community and the people in need. So thank you for that.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you.
Yeah. Any other questions? All right. What is the pleasure of the commission?
I move to approve the Sunset Coast Striders Steps for Recovery 5K Walk Run Special Event Application as presented and to direct staff to issue special event permit.
Support. Support.
Any public comment on the matter? All right, Abby, call the roll.
Commissioner Overy,
Yes.
Commissioner Fernandez,
Yeah. Yes.
Mayor Thomas.
Yes.
Commissioner Binkley,
Yes.
Commissioner Sorolla.
Yes.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank
There's
you.
one more thing.
Sure.
So we are calling it the Restoration Walk, if that's okay. It's because it's a restoration house.
Mm-hmm. Okay,
Okay.
great. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you guys.
All right, Next item number 10, we have zoning ordinance amendment sections 18.2.6, 18.2.7C, table 18.1, parking standards, City of St. Joseph, second reading of ordinance.
Yeah, so we're asking that you rescind the ordinance that you adopted during the June 9th meeting, as we found a typo after we did the legal notice stating that it had been approved. What changed was in section, point number 2 in the draft ordinance, it should have read 18.2.7C parking space requirements. It had said 7 or number 6 before, and it said measurement and calculations. All the other information is same. We're just asking that you, for clarity, rescind the original ordinance, approve the second reading of this ordinance, and then it'll be effective in 10 days.
Okay, thank you. Any questions for Kristen? No. No? All right. What is the pleasure of the commission?
I move to rescind the June 9th, 2025 approval of the second reading of the ordinance to amend Article 18, off-street parking and loading of the City of St. Joseph zoning ordinance, and move to approve an ordinance to amend Article 18, off-street parking and loading, Section 18.2.6, measurement and calculations to define square feet, non-durable goods and durable goods, and to modify the definition of seating capacity. And Section 18.2.7C, Table 18.1, parking standards to modify use categories to correspond with use classes in Table 4.1. Standardized parking formulas and reduce some parking requirements in the zoning ordinance of the City of St. Joseph, Michigan, based of the zoning ordinance.
Support.
Any public comment on the matter? If you wouldn't mind, we need name and address on the record.
This is Sean from, I live downtown. So what is this regarding? That's all I wanna, I mean, is this part of the paid parking thing or no?
No.
No. Yeah, Kristen can explain.
So within chapter 18 of the zoning ordinance, there are regulations on how we calculate on-site parking. Right now, there's 90 categories. We've reduced it down to, I believe, 40. We've also streamlined how parking is calculated under the current ordinance. It talks about building square footage, usable area. There's a lot of different exceptions, and they all don't coordinate if you have the same type of use. So that was all streamlined, and in part of it, we've also reduced the required on-site parking for properties that do require on-site parking. Within the D downtown district, there is no required on-site parking unless you're a hotel or under certain situations, conversion of buildings on the second floor for residential uses or new construction with residential.
Thank you. Any other public comment? All right, Abby, call the roll.
Commissioner Fernandez,
Yes.
Mayor Thomas.
Yes.
Commissioner Binkley,
Yes.
Commissioner Sorolla,
Yes.
Commissioner Ulrey.
Yes. Thank you. All right, on to item number 11, Rybel's Restaurant and Bar.
Rybel's is with me today to talk further about this. Rybel's Restaurant and Bar, located at 518 Broad Street in St. Joseph, would like to have amplified sound on its outdoor patio this summer. The city ordinance restricts amplified music after 10 p.m. And they are here to discuss what they would like. They'd like Friday, Saturday, and Sunday and holidays through Labor Day to have amplified music on their patio.
Nathaniel Bishop, General Manager at Rybel's, 518 Broad Street. First, I'd like to thank Director Newbecker for getting us on the agenda. Just a little adjustment from what he said, we actually would just like to do Fridays and Saturdays in July, and then 4 Fridays and Saturdays in August up to the 15th. So it's a little bit of a tighter window. We've been doing live music up there for almost 10 years now, and it's taken a while for it to become what it is now, but it's got a great following. We support a lot of the local musicians, and it's one of the few ways that we do get a lot of locals to come to Rybel's during the busy months. One of the issues that we're running into is obviously we have to stop at 10 o'clock, and we got like a full patio. I've gotten a lot of people always coming up to me, can't you guys just play a little bit longer? And no, we can't do that. That's not what the ordinance says. Specifically in July, the sun hasn't even gone down at 10 p.m. And it's just a bummer to have to stop everything before that. So we have a very small window to do live music in the summer, which is essentially mostly July. And then towards the middle of August, you know that we start to lose some of the tourists. So as I understand, we can request up to 12 dates. I have a list of those 12 dates. I could either read them off right now, or I could pass it along to you. Oh, yes. That's important. Yes. We'd like to try to go to 11 o'clock if that's possible. And I can tell you that we wouldn't be playing up to 11, probably be closer to 10:30, 10:45, but it gives us a little bit of a buffer just to kind of get everything done, close out the tabs. We have no intentions of staying open past 11 o'clock. So I greatly appreciate the opportunity to consider going to 11 p.m. for those specific dates that I have right here. And I'm more than happy to answer any questions for you guys.
Well, I personally think it's a great idea, and I was wondering about the Sundays, so I'm kind of glad you're not.
Yeah.
Fridays and Saturdays.
People
so
got to go to
that's
work
good,
on
yeah.
Mondays, so we're just
And have you
gonna-
had complaints at all on the weekends when you have had music up until 10 or not?
Obviously, we've
Minimal.
minimal though.
Steve, have you ever had to be called out?
10 o'clock is the noise ordinance, so it would not be enforced unless it was extremely loud.
Yeah, okay.
The noise ordinance in the city is till 10 p.m. So unless it was extremely loud, there's not much we could do about that. Now he's asking for an extension to 11, which is different than the
But
ordinance.
so it was never, you didn't get calls before?
Not that I'm aware.
We're still on commissioner comments.
Okay.
We've never had anybody come over, that being anybody from St. Joe Police, to tell us that we need to
Okay.
turn it down or you know,
Steve,
see
correct me if I'm wrong. We've looked back in our records. We have not seen that public safety has needed to respond. They always comply by
We have no
being done at 10
documented-
PM, and they've never been too loud up until then.
I'm not going to say
based
that
on
we
our
didn't
records.
receive a call and we went there and realized the music was not in violation. of
They
the
were in
ordinance.
compliance.
Happened. We have no documented incidents of them being in violation.
Thank you.
So when we approved another establishment to do this, we kind of had some trial dates to see how it went.
Okay.
I don't know if that's something the commission's interested in, or does anybody
What were
else
the
have
dates?
questions or?
One more time for me.
There'd be all the Fridays and Saturdays in July, and then so July 4th, July 5th, July 11th, July 19th, July 25th, July 26th, August 1st, August 2nd, August 9th, and August 15th.
I'll just jump in to point out that our next meeting is July 14th, so that would give 2 weekends of a trial if that was something the commission wanted to pursue.
Are you looking at July 3rd at all too? Just,
What's
For-
that?
are you looking for an extension on July 3rd as well?
That is the fireworks, correct?
Yeah.
No, we
Okay,
close, we close early and let the employees enjoy the fireworks. So the restaurant's
I
not
just know how
open.
busy it gets down there. so
Yeah,
that was-
yeah. No, we don't want any part of that.
We're going to do
In a few
public
minutes.
comment. We're
Yeah,
going to
in a few
exhaust this
minutes.
first and then we'll move on to that. Thanks.
Yeah, so like I said, if there's any other questions, I'm more than happy to ask. I will say, just to be candid, in the past, when we have had phone calls, which are very minimal, I've always gone upstairs and at least tried to let the band know they need to tone it down a little bit. So, you know, if that were to happen again, I would obviously try to cooperate with whoever it may be.
Okay.
I think 11 p.m. is a pretty reasonable time. This is a downtown location. I think this request is very consistent with, you know, a desire to increase things to do and draw more people into our downtown. And, you know, it helps as you have things to do a little bit later into the evening, helps not only your business, but any other businesses that are also open, you know, later. And that's something that I think we should encourage more of our businesses to extend their hours. Having things to do helps with that. I think Fridays and Saturdays is very reasonable. This is a downtown thing. I think the precedent, you know, what we've allowed other locations to do, this is actually less time than that. This is not quite as late as what we've approved in the past. And this is in our downtown. It's not in a neighborhood. So it is, you know, it is where we want more activity. So
You're saying that 11 o'clock is less time than what we've approved in the past?
we've approved midnight before for Sandbar.
For
New Year's
for New Year's Eve?
For New Year's Eve.
Not for every
So
single one,
This is
though?
consistent with what we've done in the past and it's downtown.
Yeah.
I think this is a great
Yeah.
thing. So I'm supportive.
Okay, other questions, comments? How about a motion?
I move to approve the request from Rybells to allow amplified sound at Rybells Restaurant until 11 PM on the dates requested as presented in the list from Rybells from now through Labor Day.
So that, I'm sorry, Tess.
I was gonna support it if that language works.
I was just going to say it would be Fridays and Saturdays in July and Fridays and Saturdays in August up to August 15th.
Correct.
We got a support? Okay, public comment. If you wouldn't mind, just because people are listening online and they want to be able to hear it on the microphone. Thank you.
I was just wondering, this Cindy, I was just wondering, I don't know how many condominiums there are here, but is there any responsibility at all to ask their opinion, or I don't know. I just know if I lived down here, I wouldn't want to hear it every Friday and Saturday night, but till 11. But I mean, I have no idea. I just wondered if that's something that needs to be considered.
Okay.
If there's dozen, or I don't know how many other are.
Right.
So anyway, that's what I was wondering about.
Thank you.
Jessica, 403 State Street, Unit 4. And I would like to say we are directly across the street. My bed is 20 foot from said band. And yes, we have complained, and I'm sorry I got out unruly, but of course we've complained. I mean, a week or two ago, I did call down there and told the hostess, look, you guys were way off last night. You're supposed to turn it off at 10. And they did not, and they do not. When you're in our condo, we have to use headphones in order to hear the TV. I think that we've been very generous and very nice. And I think that Jim and I have always gotten along pretty well with it for the last 10 years. And it's only been this parking thing that's been stirring everything up. And the fact that it's not fair that we don't feel appreciated what we put up for. And the thing is, the 10 o'clock, okay, great. Last Saturday, you were open till 11 o'clock. It was till 11. You know what? We didn't call and complain. Our thing is, if you leave it at 10, it'll probably be done by 11. But it's not. It always takes a little bit. And they've also left their music on all night long. We've had to call the police and have them down there, and you couldn't get a hold of anybody to let anybody in or anything. And we're up all night listening to the dang radio all night. So I think that there should be some consideration. If you were to stand in my condo, you wouldn't even believe it. And I really hope that as neighbors, we can get along with this instead of us having to be tortured constantly. Thank you.
Thank you.
And Barnes, 608 Market Street. We love the music. We're on Market Street. And we're sad when you shut down at 10 o'clock. And they have been pretty regular. They have a good selection usually. Every now and then we hear one at our house and we'll go, ooh, but not very often. They have a good selection of music. If I had a condo right across, it might be a bit of a problem, but I'm sure there's something that can be worked out. It's a great thing. It is positive. It's upbeat downtown when they have their overall good bands or singers down there. It's happier downtown. People stick around slurping their ice cream and it's positive. It also helps keep down the riffraff, the trouble, because there's this positive sound that's down there. So if we can work it out for the condo people, that would be great. We don't mind, our house, we don't mind it staying open until 11 o'clock. So, and again, as long as they keep up the good selections, we're okay with it.
Thank you. Other public comment?
Kelly Arnold. I am the manager of Jewel Fire Diamond Center, 420 State Street. I know that there's going to be a lot of mixed opinion on this one between condo owners, residents downtown, but I would just encourage you to actually totally go for this. I know that Sandbar was voted in. I was here for that meeting. You probably are sick of me saying this. I know I've been up here through all the parking meetings so far that I've been able to attend this year. Healthy communities need healthy downtowns, and we need vibrant downtowns, especially after what parking has done to our community. We've decimated downtown with downtown business traffic since May. We need to bring people into the community. And to do that, music downtown is a great way to do that. Yes, I hope there's going to be a way to work out with the condo association. However, I would encourage you to ask them, why did you move downtown in the first place? More than
There
likely,
wasn't a rooftop.
She's giving comments.
so at that time, with most people who move downtown want vibrancy. They want fun. And music is just fun. It's only a few weekends. Yes, Bose makes some really good noise canceling headphones. I myself use them. It's not the greatest. Sometimes the music is not to your taste. I myself am not a Kenny Chesney fan. And I just had to deal with a Kenny Chesney concert out in Vegas. It was not my cup of tea. I would rather have a lobotomy. But that being said, we all have to deal with a couple things. I would hope that this would bring people into the community. That's it.
Thank you. Other comments? All right, seeing none. Abby, call the roll.
Mayor Thomas,
Yes.
Commissioner Binkley,
Yes.
Commissioner Sorolla,
Yes.
Commissioner Ori,
Yes.
Commissioner Fernandez.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Greatly appreciated.
All right,
On with the selection.
item number 12, we've got Safe Streets and Roads for All grant.
So city staff is requesting to apply for a Safe Streets for All as SS4A grant in order to conduct a comprehensive review of transportation safety throughout the city. So this would be for all users, for vehicles, pedestrians, bicycles, and non-motorized. The goal of the grant is to complete a safety action plan that identifies ways to reduce or eliminate roadway fatalities and serious injuries. The grant would also allow us to give additional consideration to planned and potential non-motorized trail routes and crossings, pedestrian ADA improvements, and also enhancements in school zones. If we would learn in the fall if we're successful in getting the grant. Work would start in early 2026. There is a 20% grant match, so it's $300,000 in fees. So it is $60,000 in grant match that we would do over a period of about 2 years. We actually have 5 years to get the work done, but we figure for the scope of work and to keep the momentum going, that would be about the right time to get it done. This would be a planning and demonstration grant. If we want to get implementation dollars in the future, we have to complete the safety action plan in order to do that. So there's a lot more information in the packet about it. I'm going to stop there if you have questions on it.
All right, questions from the
I
commission?
just have a quick one. So we know MDOT's getting ready to do the roads like in 2 years, right? Finish it up. So they're going to work with you on this. So is that going to be integrated kind of? I mean, I know it won't be done until after.
Right. Well, MDOT's already done quite a bit of public input on this. So basically they would work it into the plan, but it wouldn't be so much for asking for those changes. And we want to get out in front of this. It takes some time to go through the process. There's public engagement in this. One of the things that really appealed to me about it was our non-motorized plan in the master plan is essentially outdated. And the MDOT project on Main Street really kind of brought that to light. There was a desire to have, bike lanes or something on Main Street, but with the traffic there, we really should look at other routes. And I know the Sustainability Committee is looking at that. But if in the proposal, it talks about, both community, in-city stakeholders, but also bicycle groups, so that we're integrating that effort for a more holistic approach toward it, so that we're getting everybody's input and coming up with the best plan. And the other part of this is we always want to implement things that are safe. And Tim Drews, who is the engineer we work on this, he has both a professional traffic operations engineer certification and an RSP, roadway safety professional certification. He's only one in the 10 in the state that have that. I've worked with Tim over my 20 years here. We've done 3 safety projects. We've gotten grants. I think we've done really good. Had a great project down here at Broad Street. We did another one at Cleveland Avenue and Lakeshore Drive, and also out in front of the hospital. So we've had success working together in the past as well.
Other questions?
This helps us figure out how to best get people around throughout the whole city. And also as Tim was saying, it helps us kind of tie, there's work being done, throughout how best can we, get pedestrians and bicycles back into the downtown. Sustainability Committee has been looking at, different routes. This is a good opportunity to get some granted funds to help us come together with what the best plan is for today, because like Tim mentioned, plan is outdated. It called for something that is now irrelevant because of the different designs for the Main Street reconstruction. We need to redo this anyway. This is a great opportunity to do something that not only helps us do something we have to redo anyways, but get it right for the entire city, school zone. All of this stuff is included in the scope of this, so.
Yeah. I was going to say, maybe you could address the fact that we don't have an expert on staff. This is something that has to be done right. And it can't be done by just walking around and saying, oh, I think we should do this, or I think we should do that. I mean, we'd almost have to hire somebody anyway. So we don't have an expert that's on staff to do this.
I think for when you talk about liability, the manual that we refer to as the Michigan Manual of Uniform Traffic Control Devices. And if we don't follow that, attorneys will find that, and we open ourselves up to, again, a lot of liability lawsuits that will cost the city a lot more money than what this costs by taking a more proactive approach to try to do things in a safe and effective way.
And comprehensive instead of piecemeal of doing. It's more like
Correct.
The whole stuff.
Correct.
Okay.
Tim, this is for design work. Our matching is 60,000. We've seen so many of our grant applications fail of late in general because of disadvantaged community status. How would that play into this? Is that exempt from, is this type of grant application exempt from that?
I forget the terminology that it was used. I'm gonna have to see if I can. We actually fall in a zone that's considered underserved.
Okay.
But honestly, I don't know how that works, but that's what the map on the federal government site
Yeah.
shows. That is cited in the narrative. I'm not gonna guarantee we get this grant, but I think we have a very good shot at it.
Right.
Based on the monies that are in the grant. And I don't know that a lot of communities have discovered this yet.
Right. And what my follow-up question was going to be, this is just for design services. Then when it comes to implementation, as we can see, we're already very budget challenged. And although alternate travel options in the city, including bikes, walking, et cetera, is something that's desired, something that's in the master plan, something that we've all agreed we want to do. Are we going to qualify for grant dollars to actually execute then? Because having the study done and having a plan done, if we can't then follow up and pay to have it done, seems like it wouldn't be a good idea.
I can't tell you exactly how that format, they are going through and rescoring, for example, on the SRF program. They're looking at the criteria because right now they overweighted it so much to overburden and significantly overburden communities that no one else really can get in the fundable range. That program's actually being reassessed. I would think that this is possibly also being reassessed. Another thing on the past safety grants that we have gotten, you look at the cost of the accidents, the crashes, if you will, and it versus the return on investment of the cost of the infrastructure improvement. And if you can basically show a good return on that investment, you're more competitive. Now, again, I can't identify any of that until we've gone through this analysis, but that is how we scored well in the past. That is how we got funded.
Any other
I
questions?
do need to say that this doesn't really obligate the city for
Right,
this.
we
I
can get
mean,
the grant.
if we get the grant,
No, I get that. but
we
we're
are
spending-
committing to working with Abmarsh, but it
Yeah.
doesn't mean we have to accept the grant.
Right, and we're committing to spending $60,000 to do the study.
Over 2 years, so it'll be, 20,000 or 30,000 approximately per year. We'd start in January, so the way our fiscal years work out, it'll probably be 20,000 first year, 40,000 the next. I will tell you that the grant applications are due this Thursday. I left that. It's
pressure.
fairly short fuse. This came to light when we were out looking at the RRFB, the rectangular rapid flashing beacons for Pleasant Street and Main Street. And, hopefully we'll be able to identify more of those things more quickly. So as we're making changes, we can get them done in advance of those. So
So if you get the grant, are you committed to doing the project?
we are not committed to
That's what I
doing the
thought.
project.
Okay. We can apply for the grant.
Yeah,
We can apply for the grant. Again,
Obviously, we hope we
the
can
way,
go for it, but-
again, Abmarsh brought this to us and they have the expertise for it. So the way his proposal is written, we're saying we would hire Abmarsh to work with us on it. And again, based on our past history and the experience with them, I think it's more than justified that we do that. But
We've had a number of people come to these meetings and say they're concerned about safety on the streets, or concerned about
And this
cars
helps.
in park, people on bikes, people on electric scooters, et cetera.
So
Address
I
all
just,
this.
I want to understand what you said. So if we did get the grant, you would, and if we move forward, I could see, yeah, we would be obliged to do the work with Avonmarsh. But do you feel if we got the grant and then got a little bit more information about implementation costs, likelihood of us capturing grant dollars for implementation, and we came to the conclusion that it was not a good investment, you'd be okay with us reviewing it again and saying, wait a minute, maybe this doesn't make sense? Or you feel we would be obliged to do the work with Avonmarsh?
not sure I followed all that, but I don't think we don't have to accept the grant.
Okay.
If we do, we'd be working with Abmarsh on it.
Gotcha.
Yeah, there's
I
no.
don't, there's recommendations out of it, but quite honestly, what I'm told is you don't have to do them. It's goals that you do as you can. And you put in with all your rest of your priorities and your asset management plan and work them in as you can. One of the things that appeals to me is we've tried the new traffic pattern below the bluff. And they're going to analyze that, help us analyze that to determine how effective it is and maybe things that we can do. I know staff, we've worked very hard with the county, and I think we've done very well. Steve has put a tremendous amount of time into it, but it would be nice to have an outside look, again, from somebody with expertise.
And that's just one example.
Right, one example of what this would help us do.
Tim, can you tell me a little bit more about the origin of the Safe Streets for All grant? Is this a federal program we're applying for? Is it, how is that going to be dispersed and come down?
It's a federal grant.
I see no disadvantage to applying.
Same, right? Money to help us do exactly what we're trying to do. So
I move to approve submitting a Safe Streets for All grant application for the scope of services outlined in the proposal and grant application documents, and to authorize the assistant city manager / city engineer to sign the application on behalf of the city.
I support.
public comment on the matter? Why not? We have people listening online? Thank you. Mhm.
June Bowman, 360 Lake Street. I'm not exactly sure what this means. We're experiencing the change in traffic down below, and we get to see it firsthand, what's broken and what's not broken. And so we could probably save you some money by at least giving you some input on that.
but I don't know what exactly, when you say safe streets, what is this impacting? Who, what streets are you impacting that make this safer? Thank you.
I'm going to get a little more into the detail here. So what they do is they have basically 5 points here. It will be a citywide crash study. They do a road safety audit on the major corridors. They would do a road safety review on the minor corridors. Local resident streets, they do more of a drive-through windshield review. So your heavier traffic, higher potential streets would be reviewed first. Or I guess more robustly, and then it's a lighter analysis for the others. They also would do specific safety reviews on the pedestrian accessibility and on non-motorized trails and routes. And then, of course, school zones.
Can you describe a little bit more what a major and a minor corridor would be?
Major and minor corridors, the city has a network of about 43 streets. About 30 of those streets are local streets. About 13 of them are major streets. So right off the top, we would probably be looking at the major streets as the ones that would be, the audit, I guess it would be the top level would be audit. That's not to say we wouldn't look at it. And like, for example, Botham that we're reconstructing between South State and Niles Avenue, starting in a couple weeks. That's actually a local street, but it functions more like a major street. And it's eligible for federal dollars because on the national function class map for streets, it's actually elevated. It should probably be a major street. So that's one example that I think we would probably look at, where it flip from the less intense review of the safety review on the minor corridors. We do plan to put together a team on this. I mean, off the top of my head, I would think that there's city representatives on it, but we maybe want sustainability members on it. That would be determined once we receive the grant.
Okay. Thank you.
Did that answer your question?
Yeah, I guess it's a priority of things in our city, and I think you certainly a big
Top
deal.
priority.
And I've heard some commissioners talk about the concern of our budget. I just want to make sure, are we aligning this in the right place, categories of where it should be and what we should be spending? Because, if I hear people get up and say, hey, we should be cutting some city staff, that's very concerning. And because I know our city staff has a lot going on. So I just want to know, where is this in all the priorities?
Right. Yeah.
I think you just let me get up on my asset management soapbox.
Yeah, here you go.
Because, I completed one of the state put out a program on asset management champions, and it's the gear is to be, or the goal is to manage your assets in the most effective manner. And so you're looking at your consequence of failure, and then you're looking at your likelihood of failure of your asset. So, and that determines your business risk score on that. So what we're doing, you look at the best example is a water main on a dead end street. It's going to be, obviously the consequence of failure of that is far less than a 12-inch or a 16-inch water main that feeds the hospital. So you go through and you score all of your assets, and you do that for your water mains, for your sanitary sewers, for your storm sewers, for your lift stations, for your roadways. And we're actually building all of that right now in a database through GIS, Enterprise Maintenance Management System. This would be another input as we look at this holistically, as we try to prioritize what are the most important projects throughout the city. So.
Yeah, and we've all done that asset management training, and that it is a prioritizing thing where you have, and these are the experts that are doing it now, so.
Thank you. Any other public comment? Run up.
It's not fast.
It's all right. Take your time.
Jack Sanderson, 804 Lake Lane. And I like the idea of this, but I do have a question about it. Especially when you talked about non-motorized transportation, because I ride a bicycle the end of this month, I will hit 16,000 miles. Most of them are right in the city limits here.
Good job.
And I have fallen off my bike twice. Once destroyed my helmet, didn't destroy my head, although there's other opinions on that. But I meet other people who are bikers who have had accidents here in the city. And I think back about mine, and I did happen to say something with the previous city manager who told me that the city isn't liable for streets unless they've been notified that there's a problem with it. And I don't know if that's what got Lions Park Drive paved a couple of years ago when it needed it less than most of the streets in the city, but that's where I fell and crashed on my head. How are they going to know about accidents for non-motorized vehicles? Because I would guess that most of them aren't reported, are they? Your turn.
Thank you, Jack.
I get to pull out more of my stuff here in the backup, so give me a second here.
I'm going to stay here.
You're making him a happy man. He likes to have all this.
Just give me a second if
info
I
to
can
give.
find it, because in the narrative of I do, in the narrative, it talks about them. Here we go. So there were 907 reported crashes that include 137 with injuries. And the city had 4 fatalities, and that was from the period of 2018 to 2022. That's not just vehicular. There's cyclists, there's pedestrian in there. One of those fatalities was actually, was vehicular into a pedestrian. So the crash reports, the UD10s that the state puts out has those, as long as they are reported, they have to be reported.
So I hope you don't fall again, Jack, but if you do, report it, but don't fall.
And I gotta, again, this is an asset management thing. Your roadway was resurfaced because we have to keep our good roads good. We have a lot of roads in the city that are in very poor failing condition, but it costs tremendously more to reconstruct a road than it costs to resurface a road. So we actually are putting a high priority on preventive maintenance in order to make sure that the good roads stay good. And we're just going to have to get to the roads that we need to be reconstructed in a priority manner. They start to be a real safety issue, then obviously they're going to come up higher on the list.
Okay.
Thank you.
I have
Thank you.
Come on up.
But this comes back to what I mentioned before. I too ride a bicycle. And when you come down Port Street, which is the main, I call that the main, and you can go all the way down to Silver, or you can just keep going down to the Bluff. That road, I mean, you have to dodge stuff. You're either dodging the man covers, or you're dodging the holes, or you're dodging where they patched. It's horrible. Now there's others besides that I don't know the name of the streets, but I can go around very easily and mark dozens of deep craters, deep. So that's very dangerous when you're non-motorized. Not to speak of if you're just crossing the road even on foot. You see? So,
Yeah, we're gonna
anyway,
fix those.
Out of that.
The only thing I can say is I agree. And again, if we
Tosies too,
if we
that's-
go back to the whole asset management thing, one of the things, we finished our program in 2018. And at the same time that we finished it, the state promulgated the lead and service copper, or the new, lead and service copper rule, which required the mandatory replacement of all of our lead services. And we've got a lot of them, at least a $20 million price tag. What originally was over 20 years, and the federal government's actually trying to speed that time up. We have CSO demands on our system, it's probably gonna be on the order of $20 million before we're all said and done on the storage tank. But what it did is it took that asset management plan, it kind of blew it up. And we're still trying to get our legs under us to update that. But long story short, I think we're going to have to look at some of these roads that are getting in very poor condition, and we're going to have to do exactly what I don't want to do. But we're probably going to have to mill and resurface those for safety reasons. So we recognize that. We're trying to do our best to prioritize it.
Some of that, and I know authority on this, but if you just heated it and got rid of it, there's brick under there.
The brick is a whole nother story. It's expensive to maintain a brick street, and there's a reason They resurfaced brick streets. They were probably in very poor condition under there, underneath the asphalt. So first of all, I don't think we could get the brick that we needed to, but that the cost to rehabilitate a brick street is like 3 times as high as it is to resurface the asphalt.
Just some simple cold patch or hot patch preferably. And just screen over a few areas where the bicycles.
And our Public Works Department is working on that.
He was in asphalt for many years.
Oh. Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
Other public comment? All right, I think we have.
Can I get a clarification on, so I heard the motion. I just want to know will the commission see it again if we get the grant?
You will, we always we ask permission to bring the application to make sure that you're okay with that. And then the agreement will be reviewed by legal counsel or by Attorney Schmidt. And we'll also have to execute the proposal with Marsh and have the agreement on there as well. So like we have a PSA in addition, professional services agreement that we attach to their agreement with all the contractual terms. And we also list the reasons why we're sole sourcing it, because we are sole sourcing it. And you'll be able to see all of that and make sure that
It
you're in
comes back.
agreement that that's what we're doing.
And at that point, would we be approving that $60,000 or is that happening right now? Are we committing to that?
No, you're not
amount?
committing the $60,000.
Just to,
So we
just to
would-
submit the
In
grant
order to
application.
apply the
Just- okay.
grant.
Thank you. I just wanted to
Yeah.
clarify that. And I do appreciate all of your background to that, Tim, as well, because it makes sense.
Yep.
I just
So
want
we
to be
would
sure
have
we knew
to-
what we were spending money on.
Sorry, Jess.
That's
We would
okay.
have to allocate the $60,000 in the future. It's not already allocated, or is it
It
already?
came after we budgeted.
Okay, so
So
it,
we would have
the
to do a
budget amendment
We would
would
also
come
have to
back.
have a budget amendment at that time. We'd have to
Okay.
look at where our dollars are to see if we can afford to do it.
Okay, perfect.
Thanks. That makes me a lot more comfortable with it.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Let's call the roll.
Commissioner Binkley,
Yes.
Commissioner Sorolla,
Yes.
Commissioner Ori,
Yes.
Commissioner Fernandez,
Yes.
Mayor Thomas.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank
Tim.
you, Tim.
All right, item number 13, dump truck retrofit.
Right. The engine in one of our dedicated salt trucks failed last winter and required the replacement of the engine. The manufacturer believes the failure was the result of the low amount of use on the engine and recommended retrofitting the truck to be more universal in use by putting a traditional dump body on. With that information, staff contacted Truck and Trailer Specialties. They're the MyDeal vendor for large truck outfitting for a proposal to retrofit the truck to a traditional dump body with V-Box insert. The V-Box insert would essentially serve as the salt spreader during winter operations. The MyDeal pricing from Truck and Trailer for this work is $64,789. This conversion will make the truck more versatile and allow more regular use of the truck as opposed to its current use specialized to winter operations only. As an example, this truck, which is a 2012, has just over 34,000 miles on it, while a more flexible truck of a similar age, which was a 2010, has in excess of 80,000 miles on it. It should be noted that the funding for this work was approved as a part of the 25-26 budget and is under budget. With the long lead time for installation, roughly about this time next year, staff is bringing this forward to lock in the pricing and get us on the schedule as soon as possible. Questions?
Any questions?
This is budgeted work already, and it's going to let us use one of our assets even more to fulfill other services that, our residents expect. So this is a win-win.
All right, what is the pleasure of the commission?
I move to accept the proposal from Truck and Trailer Specialties of Dutton, Michigan, in the amount of $64,789 to be paid from the motor pool fund and authorize the city manager to execute the appropriate documents on behalf of the city.
Support.
Any public comments on the matter? All right, Abby, call the roll.
Commissioner Sorolla,
Yes.
Commissioner Ori,
Yes.
Commissioner Fernandez.
Yes.
Mayor Thomas.
Yes.
Commissioner Binkley.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, item number 14, MDOT maintenance contract.
So as part of the city's new wayfinding signage installation, which is getting closer and closer, we had to apply for an MDOT right-of-way permit for the 11 signs that are going on the Main Street corridor. In order to obtain that permit, the city needs a maintenance agreement with MDOT, which basically is saying we're responsible for our signs that we purchased and are installing. So any repairs or anything, we're responsible for that. So I'm asking for commission approval of the MDOT maintenance agreement for the wayfinding project.
Thank you. Questions?
Makes sense.
All right.
Pretty
What is the pleasure of the commission?
I move to approve the MDOT contract 25-5305 wayfinding signage maintenance agreement and direct the city manager to sign the contract on behalf of the city.
Support.
Any public comment on the matter? All right, Abby, call the roll.
Commissioner Ori,
Yes.
Commissioner Fernandez.
Yes.
Mayor Thomas.
Yes.
Commissioner Binkley,
Yes.
Commissioner Sorolla.
Yes.
Thank you. Item number 15, map amendment 230 Upton Drive, Harbor Shores Community Redevelopment LLC, Whirlpool Corporation rezoning I-2 heavy industrial to water recreation district.
So on on June 5th, the Planning Commission conducted a public hearing and unanimously recommended approval of the map amendment from I-2 to W Water Recreation District. It is consistent with the 2016 master plan, which called the area of waterfront mixed use. And so it's a 2.5 acre parcel. The applicant is not here because they had a prior commitment at a different board meeting. I said I could probably move through. So they will try to be here next time if you need to meet them. Anything that is in the W Water Recreation District does require a planned unit development for any future development on the property. And the applicant probably will be doing that sometime in the future. So we're just requesting the first reading of the ordinance to rezone the property to W Water Recreation. And then if that happens tonight, then the second reading would be on June 14th, with it becoming effective 10 days later.
July 14th.
July.
July.
Yeah, July, sorry.
Great, thank you. Questions? Nothing.
We've talked about this one before and what they've got going on. I move to approve the first reading of an ordinance to approve zoning map amendment rezoning request by Harbor Shores Community Redevelopment LLC on behalf of the property owner Whirlpool Corporation for the property known as 230 Upton Drive from the 1-2 Heavy Industrial District to the W Water Recreation District based on the information included in the June 5th, 2025 Planning Commission agenda packet as the request meets the required standards under section 22.3 of the zoning ordinance.
Support.
Any public comment on the matter? All right, Abby, call the roll.
Mayor Thomas,
Yes.
Commissioner Binkley,
Yes.
Commissioner Sorolla,
Yes.
Commissioner Ori,
Yes.
Commissioner Fernandez.
Yes.
Thank you. Item number 16, memorandum of understanding with Four Flags Properties.
Thank you. This is a proposed memorandum of understanding with Four Flags Property, which currently owns the property at 3425 Lakeshore Drive, which is the Lookout Point apartment complex. They purchased 3 properties that are adjacent to that, and they're developing apartments there too, and went through the approval process with the commission earlier this year. They're, as part of trying to develop the water service, they've been meeting with city staff to find the most efficient route that would make sense to support the additional complex and perhaps provide a benefit to other nearby properties. There's a city parcel that is located kind of behind that property. It's an L-shaped piece of property. It's vacant, it's zoned industrial. To my knowledge, there's never really been a city use for it. I'm not.
It's landlocked too, isn't it? Kind of.
It does have access, but it's really not a buildable lot
Right.
in the way it's situated. It's very narrow. So it wouldn't meet any kind of zoning. It would have to really be something one of the adjacent properties would have to utilize. But as part of the design and construction planning for the second apartment complex, it appears that that's a good route to use for a water line to service the property. Tim can give you the details on why it would be a good thing for the system as a whole. But it would help the flow to go much more smoothly and also help other properties nearby. So what the proposal is to have the Four Flags Properties purchase that property from the city. But kind of as part of that exchange, they'd be paying for the design and construction of the water line on the city parcel. It would have to meet city standards and specifications. It'd have to be approved by the city engineering. But once they get that in and have it fully in place, then the city would convey the parcel to them, and they in turn would grant an easement to the city to maintain the water line. So basically, the city would have that all paid for, but it would become part of the water system. So it's a mutual benefit to both Lookout Point and to the city to have that take place. As part of, I think I'm missing something. I think that's pretty much it. So those are kind of the basic details. There is an appraisal that's currently being prepared by Lookout or by the Four Flags representatives. We think we have a pretty good idea of the price, and really, when you look at the cost of putting that system in and the benefit to the public, we believe it's probably a fair exchange in value. But to confirm that, they are getting an appraisal done, and we are having a review prepared of that appraisal. If it turns out to be more than 150% of the cost of putting that line in, then they would renegotiate a purchase price for the property. So it leaves that open right now, but they're trying to move forward as quickly as possible. And, we are also with the appraisal that should be done pretty shortly. So the request is to approve the proposed MOU for the public water main and the grant of easement between the city and Four Flags. There is a draft easement attached as one of the exhibits. Also, the proposed new utility line easement area is one of those exhibits. And as I said, Tim can give you more engineering details if you'd like those specifics. So.
It's good.
Seems like a mutually beneficial arrangement, so.
And this is property that we've had and just never been able to do anything with it because of its odd shape and location. And has there ever been any kind of purpose for this? Or?
Not that I'm aware of. I'm not sure if Tim is aware of anything.
No, I think, Greg, I think you maybe got called out there because it was concerned about the maintenance of it, so I think it's more of a liability.
Beneficial, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. It's not buildable for anything. There's nothing that could ever go there. It doesn't meet any requirements of anything.
That's my understanding.
Not as a standalone.
Yeah.
As a
No, it's,
It's
yeah,
kind of a flag parcel, but none of the lots meet the dimensional
Right.
requirements built.
it's very narrow.
And the access is just like right on that corner. Like that would be the only access, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Okay.
I move to approve the proposed memorandum of understanding for public water main and grant of easement between the city and Four Flags Properties Inc., subject to non-substantive changes approved by the city engineer and city attorney, and authorize the city manager to sign the agreement on the.
I support.
Any public comment? All right, may I be called the roll?
Commissioner Fernandez,
Yes.
Mayor Thomas.
Yes.
Commissioner Binkley,
Yes.
Commissioner Sorolla,
Yes.
Commissioner Ori.
Yes.
Thank you. All right. Item number 17, resolution of conditional support sale of real estate lot number 1.
So I will kick off, and I see Peter Rinks making his way up as well, who will go for it. We'll turn the mic over to in just a minute. But I wanted to start by giving a little bit of background. Since I know everyone reads the Downtown Vision Master Plan, you probably remember it was adopted in 2020, and it followed robust community engagement and feedback, and it laid out goals for the downtown. The very first goal is to reinforce the downtown's distinct character and sense of place while accommodating desirable development. Within that goal, there are 2 objectives that support the goals. Identify and explore priority development opportunities that would serve as catalysts for improvement and investment within the downtown. And the second objective is to explore opportunities for public-private development partnerships that incorporate public amenities. The report goes on to identify what it calls priority sites, development opportunity sites best positioned for development and reinvestment. And that includes the public city parking lot located at the northeast corner of Broad and Lake Boulevard, which is what we want to discuss tonight. I will go on just a little bit to say that in addition to all of that work in the Downtown Vision Master Plan, our partners at Cornerstone Alliance also did a housing analysis study, which recommended an additional 900 housing units be developed in the city of St. Joseph over the next 5 years. And that information was folded into the city's economic development strategy, adopted in 2024 by the City Commission, setting a target of 900 housing units for us. So with all of that in mind, we have certainly been looking into development in the downtown. And that is where the Rinks Group comes in. We were approached by the Rinks Group, who is looking to pursue a development in the downtown. And they're specifically interested in the parking lot that I mentioned at the northeast corner of Broad and Lake Boulevard. They are interested in doing a mixed-use development, which I will let Peter speak to, but I want to stress this out loud, that part of what we are here to talk about today is an agreement that would, at minimum, replace the parking spaces currently in the city's surface parking lot. So I know everyone's got parking on their mind, and this would not result in a loss of parking. The Rinks Group has been working on their vision. They have been talking to the city, and we have drafted a resolution that we're asking for your input on, that essentially lays out the support they're looking for from us, and what we would be looking for from them to reach an agreement on a sale of that property to the Rinks Group for the purpose of this development. If approved, this resolution would start a process that would include opportunities for community input and consideration by the city's planning commission, among other steps. So with that said, I'll turn it over to Peter.
Great, thanks, Emily. So council members, I appreciate all you're doing. This is a thankless job, and I'm thankful for the dialogue that we've been able to have with the city on this opportunity. And so I want to begin by saying just how much I love this town. I grew up just down the road in Edwardsburg, Michigan, in a modest household where vacations for us were Silver Beach. We didn't go on cruises or to Florida. It was a day at Silver Beach with packed lunches. And so it still is that, just a little bit every time I'm here, and especially now, just with the sun shining and the lake being so beautiful. It's a mini vacation. Even coming up here, a little nervous for this meeting. I was relaxed, enjoying the beach vibes. And so it's always been that special place for me. And so now, years later, I'm proud to be investing in this community, not just emotionally, but actively. We currently own 2 buildings on State Street, and we're deeply committed to contributing to the long-term success and vitality of this city. I'm here to introduce a transformational development proposal for the city of St. Joseph. It would be a 100-unit mixed-use project overlooking the lake, located in a highly visible and underutilized part of our waterfront. The project would include 32 high-end condominiums, 68 market-rate apartments, over 12,000 square feet of commercial space, a modern event venue, and 157 underground parking spaces. It's a balanced mix of condos with full-time residential units plus retail, and the use is designed to bring new energy to our community. What makes this development truly significant is that it would be the first large-scale development project of its kind in St. Joseph in over 2 decades. It's thoughtfully designed to enhance the character of our beautiful city while meeting the modern demands of residents, businesses, and visitors alike. We believe this project will help activate the lakefront, extend economic activity beyond the summer months, and serve as a catalyst for broader revitalization in downtown and beyond. We're here today to ask for your partnership and support as we continue to move the project forward with diligence, transparency, and best efforts to meet all the required city and county conditions. Thank you for your time and consideration.
All right, thank you for that. Questions from the commission?
This directly fills a major hole in what we need in our community. We are at a desperate position to reverse our trends of population decline year after year since the 70s of steady decline. This helps give us more. That economic development study that we could absorb up to 900 more. Some people that I've talked to feel that that number is low. We desperately need to create more opportunities for people to buy housing, and this helps us get there. In addition to that, it helps us maximize the usefulness of the space. You know, the space we're talking about is space that you, our community, has been crying for, screaming for us, and we're with you, by the way, to do something with this space. Don't let it go to waste. It is great space, and this gives us the ability to do that and fill a major hole, while also creating some jobs, you know, while all of this work gets done. This is great.
I also love that it's got a combination of not only the condos, but the apartments. And I know you kind of went into a little bit more detail at a meeting about how it was going to be geared for, you know, the middle class, people who can afford to live in
Yes.
these. I don't know if you want to expound on that a little bit more?
Yeah, the 68 apartments are market rate, so they meet the average median income, so the everyday working professional can live there. And that's really an important part of the project as we're trying to incorporate more full-time residents downtown to help with the sustainability of the shops, of the restaurants, and encourage even more businesses to come in. It'd be great to see a grocery store come downtown or something else to support all those residents. And 68 apartments would, you know, probably, you know, equate to about 100 new residents at least, living right there in the core of the downtown.
And you had explained like the way the funding works. I don't need to get all in the weeds on that, but you have to follow that. So you're not just saying that right now. It's something that you're going to have to follow through on.
Correct, yeah. We're pursuing some state of Michigan grants that require that. So this can't really be like a bait and switch or anything, and then we'll raise them. Or like, they're not going to be Airbnbs. If it's state funded, it has to be full-time area median income living units. So it's a requirement.
Yeah, it's excellent. It's at minimum parking neutral. And as Cornerstone has pointed out to us, each unit of development in downtown, each residence contributes a minimum of $10,000 to the economic activity of downtown. So this helps the shops that are down there, restaurants that are down there to be more vibrant, and it encourages expansion to other things that would service a more robust downtown living experience.
Year round, in a way.
Correct.
Mhm.
No, I think that's powerful when we talk about year round, and thank you for explaining some of that area median housing. I know we talked about workforce housing and what that means.
Yep.
And thank you for listening to our advocacy around that as well. Again, I rent, and so I would love to see more of that available in the community for people like me.
And I know I haven't been on the committee, but I think Tessa and Mike have been trying to work on options for development in downtown or development in the city. So I think this is a fabulous way to go. And I just want to reiterate that if approved, this resolution simply starts the process that will include opportunities for community input and approval consideration by the cities, among other steps.
That's correct.
Starts the process. I move to approve the resolution of conditional support of sale of real estate as presented.
Support.
Any public comment on the matter? If you don't mind, we have people listening, so if you would speak into the microphone, thank you, and name and address.
Yeah, Dale Baker, 384 Upton. How much is the average cost of renting a 64?
Can you,
The apartment?
The apartment.
Sorry, we couldn't hear you. Could you repeat the question?
Is the average
And-
cost for the apartment?
Yeah, it's set by the state of Michigan, and so for the, you know, smaller units up to the 2-bedroom units, it's anywhere from like $1,300 a month up to $2,000.
And this is across from Tosi's,
Correct.
TMT? Yeah. Good enough.
thank you.
Carl Meyer, co-owner of the 505 Properties, 505 Pleasant Street, directly to the north of this proposed building. We are strongly encouraging you to approve it.
Thank you. Thank you. Other public comment?
we had coffee with these guys, Ken from the Buck and I. Great couple of people. My question is like, what kind of tax revenue do you expect? It's always an issue, right? Of
course,
A lot.
yes. Yeah.
And what will that do to property taxes? What can we look forward to? And there's money that comes back, like TIF money that goes back and forth. Has there been
Yes.
any work done with that?
And can we get your name as well, please?
Jim.
Thank you.
Jim Kramer from Shoes.
How much do we have?
Would you like to have, do you have an answer? That might be.
Yeah, Jim, all of that is still being figured out right now. In terms of how the TIF would work and how the property taxes work. We haven't had an assessment done on what the value is to figure out what the revenue would be. But it's a 7-figure increase in tax revenue to the city. It would be a significant boost in additional revenue, for sure.
Thank you. Other public comment?
Sean Hill. I guess so. The way I'm understanding it is the parking lot has to be sold to make this project go. Is that, I mean, that's part of the deal, I guess. I'm getting out of this. And if it's not the parking lot, because we talked about underground parking underneath the condo. Is it not enough parking for the place or whatever? I don't know. I just, when we talk about selling property downtown, especially in that area, I mean, I get a little, why are we doing that? I mean, it's very valuable property, and I mean, I hope we get fair market price. I get the ROI and stuff like that, but another thing that kind of just got me a little bit, he talked about the state setting the rental agreement on it. I mean, is this HUD housing then, or is this public housing? Or, I mean, I guess, is
No,
that
it's
just because of the
market.
grant? No, I'm just asking. Just asking.
It's not HUD housing. So so Berrien County, our median income right now is $65,000. And so that is what and so that's what the state looks at to set those prices.
Yep.
It's at 120% of that as well. So I'd even venture to say it's still a little bit more than, I'd still have to see some more affordable housing. But this is a good step in that direction.
Okay, just asking.
Thank you. Other public comment?
Deb Saylor, I own 301 The Market. I just want to thank Rinks Group. Yeah. Rinks Group, I think this is a tremendous opportunity for the city of St. Joe. I think it's a wonderful opportunity for the the commission and the staff here at the city to really make a huge impact on the future economic development of our downtown. And it's a great opportunity to change St. No into welcoming development and growth and looking forward. So strongly encourage you to move forward. I'm also on the DDA, so it's a great development group, and you would be wise to work really hand in hand with them to get this project not just started, but over the finish line.
Thank you.
Yeah, and to kind of respond to you, Sean, I mean, in your question, if others had a similar question, we put every piece of property that the city owns through a filter of highest and best use. And every consultant and really common sense says a parking lot that overlooks Lake Michigan is not the highest and best use for that piece of property. And in that, it is going to generate significant tax revenue. It's going to have a tremendous economic impact downtown from the number of people that are going to live there, that are going to spend money downtown. And the fact that it's parking neutral, it really checks every box. And it does take that property to the highest and best use. So that was the filter we looked at it through.
People are more valuable than pavement, so.
Other public comment?
Ann Barnes, 608 Market Street. I have questions. One, how many stories, how high is this building going to be? And then I heard the term underground parking, and in my mind, I think below ground level. Is that what I'm correctly? Okay. So that brings to mind, I have lived in that area. When the train goes by, I mean, you're gonna have to do some studies. When the train goes by, the ground shakes. So there's gonna be a lot of there's going to be a lot of geographical studies, geological studies, because it does, things shake. And so you've got the stability, you're that close to the bluff. We have underground springs. I know that property at the corner, we used to, who owns it now? The Millers, the corner of State and Market, they literally have or had underground springs. So you've got a lot of instability in the ground. So when you said underground, I went like, you could need to look into that. And then you said it's parking neutral. What does that mean? Because you're taking away a parking spot. How many parking spaces are you talking? Because you're going to have 68 units. How many parking spaces is each unit going to require? You're taking away public parking. Will there be public parking in this building for people coming to shop? People that live in that area already that need that, have these all been addressed? But my first thing was, I remember how things shake on the second story of my house when a train goes by. And then you've got semis going down Main Street. We've got delivery trucks going down. There's a lot of ground moving in St. Joe. So those are things to consider.
Thank you. If you'd like to about the parking? Yeah.
So Anne, just to quickly respond, yes, we probably have a lot of engineering work to do, and Peter and Tim know a lot more about that than I do. But again, this is just the very first step in the process. So thank you. I think we need to make sure that we are doing our due diligence there. In terms of parking, each unit would require one parking space. And so it's 100 units, would be 100 parking spaces required. And the Rinks Group has committed to, at a minimum, replacing the 57 spaces that are in the lot. So it would be 157 spaces at a minimum. The majority of them underground, some of them on the first floor, I believe. But, that's all sort of conceptual at this point.
Great. Thank you. Other public comment?
Hello, Fabian Romazet, Botham Court in St. Joe. I think it's great in principle, you've all said about everything that's needed in St. Joe. The only thing that I would say, because it's very early, so it's just to keep in mind, is there's not just numbers. We got to be careful about how it looks like. And I don't know if you already have renders or if you will be and stuff, but be very, very vigilant on this, because you don't want a sore thumb poking out of your downtown, because it's where it is. If I understand correctly, it's right in front. So everywhere in the city is going to be behind it. So everyone's going to see it at all time. You go out of the main street or you go out of your coffee or whatever, it's going to be there. If you're up having a glass of wine at one of the beautiful bars we have, it's going to be there in front of you. If you're at the beach, you look back, it's going to be there. So, we have to be very, very careful that it kind of mixes well in the landscape, because personally, I've seen that like one building can ruin an entire view around. So not against the idea, just like being very careful about the visual. It's more than just numbers.
You make a good point. This is you only get one shot at a generational project like this. right?
Exactly.
You only
It's-
get to build something in
you
the
don't
cloud
get
one
back.
time. Yeah.
Is that when you design something like this and then everyone's like, it looks like a dick, you're done. It's over. You don't redesign the thing because now you want to change the shape or whatever. So be careful.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comment?
Oh, we don't know.
Do we know that yet?
No.
Okay. Like you were saying, this is very preliminary. The design isn't even there yet. It's just this first phase and we'll know more as the project progresses.
Yeah,
we gotta work with the city to determine what those things are.
Okay. And is there and there is a public input component of this?
Yeah, there
Yeah.
will be.
Thank you. Other public comments? All right, I think we have a motion and a second. Let's call the roll.
Commissioner Binkley,
Yes.
Commissioner Sorolla,
Yes.
Commissioner Olry,
Yes.
Commissioner Fernandez.
Yes.
Mayor Thomas.
Yes.
Yay, this is very exciting.
Thank you.
Thanks, Peter.
30 years.
Oh,
That's been 30 years. Yes.
All right, item number 18, we are on Brownfield Redevelopment Authority contract.
So with potential projects on the horizon, the Brownfield Redevelopment Authority has been meeting and has decided to look into hiring a consultant to assist staff with updating policies and procedures and provide public outreach, as well as work with future developers on the TIF plans if approved by commission. Staff developed an RFP to solicit proposals for the scope of work. 4 proposals were opened on May 9th, and after careful review, 2 of the 4 were selected to be interviewed. A panel met virtually with the 2 candidates and then met with the full Brownfield Redevelopment Authority board to discuss the 2 options, which were Fishbeck and Fleece and Vandenbrink. Based on all input, staff recommends awarding the contract to Fleece and Vandenbrink and asks commission to approve the city manager executing the negotiated contract once approved by the city attorney.
Thank you. Questions?
Brownfield is something we need to have in place in order to get a lot of this work and development done. So on that, I have moved to approve the Brownfield Redevelopment Authority Services proposals submitted by Flees and Vanderbank for an amount not to exceed 50,000 as included in the fiscal year 26 budget, and authorize the city manager to execute the proposed contract subject to non-substantive changes approved by the city attorney.
I support.
Public comment on the matter?
Could we have all staff members say their name and job titles when they're presenting?
Oh, sure.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Why don't you?
I'm Kelly Ewald, I'm the development director.
Nice. Good suggestion. Yeah. All right. I see no other public comments, so Abby, call the roll.
Commissioner Sorolla,
Yes.
Commissioner Olry,
Yes.
Commissioner Fernandez.
Yes.
Mayor Thomas.
Yes.
Commissioner Binkley.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. guys.
All righty. Number 19, final budget amendments fiscal year 25. Yeah, Ben.
Okay, Ben Reynolds, Finance Director. So we were asking for the final budget amendments for the year. This is to bring us into compliance with the Uniform Budgeting and Accounting Act. These are a conservative view of what we need. We have gone through each line, reduced lines that have surplus, and these are essentially the sum of those increases in up in lines that need help. Do you want me to just read through the list or?
Yeah.
Okay. So starting with the general fund, for the city clerk budget, we're asking for 3,500. This is to laptop that was bought this fiscal year. However, we're having issues running the software for the cemetery. The laptop that we did buy will be repurposed, but we need to buy a new one for the clerk. City treasurer, my budget, this is required to cover health insurance opt-out for an employee that we didn't have at the time we set the budget. Additional IT services, and moving software from the central purchasing. Like we talked about during the budget, we're moving items around from other cost centers. This happens to be one of them where the 2 software, the ClerkGov and Munitrix, are moving to mine. And also they were cut for next year. So this is a 1-year only thing. And also I'm consolidating all the bank fees so they're in one location. So it's easier to see where they are. And which I don't have budget for that now, so we need to increase for that. And also the tax chargebacks. There were in a previous budget, the extraordinary items budget. I'm moving that to mine. And like we talked about during budget, we're removing the extraordinary items budget on the whole. The elections budget, same issue with the clerk, same laptop issue. Theirs will be repurposed for the inspection. Building and grounds increase of 5,100. This is for the payroll accrual and utility expenses. Personnel, 9,900. This is for the payroll accrual also. Overtime that was incurred for the tax year end. And then city manager background checks and IT services. The fire department, 17,400. This is for the retirement and personnel payouts plus associated benefits. Public Works is $1,100. This is for the additional public utilities. Street lighting, $8,000. This is for the also additional utilities. Economic development, 10,700. This is for the payroll accrual, additional IT services, and then transportation education. Communications, 35,400. This is because this money was originally budgeted in the city manager's department, but during the budget process, we moved that out. So we're reducing city manager and increasing this side. Parks and Recreation, 40,700. This is to cover the cost of the vehicle allocation. Like we talked about during budget, we changed the way we do the payroll allocation for the Act 51 cost sharing for the vehicles. We used to do a manual calculation and reduction. We did away with that to help the motor pool fund. So this is the offset. We need to increase the budget here because that money is going to the motor pool fund. And then transferred out of the $25,000. This is like we also talked during budget where I am asking for a transfer out for the CSO debt fund. I don't think we're going to need it, but I need to have that in my back pocket in case we do. Moving on to the 204 fund, the municipal street fund, the sidewalks, the biannual sidewalk program, $66,000. This is just additional cost that was not budgeted for during the project that bled over into this year from last. The general debt service fund, this is the 25 grand coming in I just talked about. And then the agent fees for that one loan left was $50 more than the budget. So I need to ask for $100 to cover that. The 401 fund, the public safety department, $5,900. This is for additional costs for the camera server upgrade projects. The downtown parking, $52,000. This is for the construction and signs of the implementation for the parking program. And the library water meter, $10,000. This is something I would probably come back to later in this fiscal year. We are isolating this expense for a reason. We're putting in a special budget line. It's installing the water meter at the library. The CSO separation project fund, if you remember when we talked during budget, we're not using that funding directly to the sewer fund, so I'm just reducing the budget to zero. The Lighthouse Capital Improvement Fund, 15 grand. This is like we also talked during budget. We are allocating 50 grand a year. We did it for next year's budget. I am just doing it for this year to cover the cost. Now these three next funds, the enterprise funds, the first one with the sewer fund. This is an increase of 3,900. However, there are a lot of transactions to make this up. The first one is the majority of these, and I'm not going to list everything, but the big ones that account for that total change are $227,100 for depreciation. I'm changing the way that we present depreciation, so I'm increasing the budget for that for this year. $199,900 for a reduction to the CIPP project. And then $71,500 reduction for the Botham and $40,600 increase for the Main Street project. So all that together, all that crushed together is an increase of $3,900. Now for the 591 fund, this is the water system fund. It's an increase of $1,714,660. However, that is made up of depreciation, which again, I am changing the way we present that in our financials, which is new. So $700,000 increase there. We are reducing by $129,000 the water system distribution department. That's just a surplus that was not needed. And I'm increasing the project line by $1,303,400 because as we talked, the project was ahead of schedule. We are going to hopefully capture all the expense in this fiscal year, which we did not think would happen when we did the budget last fiscal year. saying all that, it's gonna be more than we need. We're probably still gonna have expense next year, but I'm asking for $1,303,400. The city water fund, we are a net decrease of $164,000. That's also been a bunch of lines making up the sum of that amount. I'm asking for a 350,000 increase for depreciation. Again, with all three of these funds, I'm changing the way depreciation is presented. And then a reduction of $513,700 for the Botham Avenue project. The self-insurance fund. This is a increase of $27,000. Oh, and that is because of balance sheet adjustments that I made this year. We found last year during year end, balance sheet items were not expensed out. I did that this year, so I need to cover that for this fiscal year. And then the last one, the healthcare fund, an increase of $322,500. This is because we are self-insured and the health insurance has been writing more than we anticipated. That is also an item that's probably going to come back to you this fiscal year. But that's the price of being self-insured. We have to cover the cost. It works great until it doesn't. All that said, being together, we are looking in really good shape. If you remember during the budget book, I presented the projected column. We're probably going to be well under that projected column. I'm only asking for items that need it, and I'm not presenting the ones that reduced. So this is just as a conservative value.
Thank you.
Yep.
Any questions?
Greg, the fact that this more is hitting the budget this year for the clarifier project, is that an indication that they're ahead of schedule?
Yes, they are.
Things going well?
Substantially complete in July.
Excellent.
The contract date is September 5th, so they're ahead of schedule. We're going to be placing the second set basins into service later this week. First set basin we have in service right now. We don't have clarifier number 1. We've taken out of service. Today we hit 10 million gallons per day capacity. That's what that new unit's rated at, producing excellent water. We're very pleased.
Great. Thanks for the update.
Other questions? All right, what is the?
I move
pleasure-
to approve the fiscal year 2024-2025 amended budget as presented.
Support.
Any public comment?
Debbie Johnson, 1919 Forest. I just had a question on the 52,000 for the paid parking program. Is that a change from, I don't understand your budgeting process, so is that a change from what you had previously budgeted for the year? Is the additional 52,000 because of all the changes that were, the tweaks that were made? Thank you.
Yeah, I think Ben and I might have to tag team because I don't have the numbers in front of me, and I think I see Greg back there as well. I think we had increased expenses over what we initially anticipated. Some of that was signage. We ended up, I would say, at least doubling our signage from where we started, and that was a very quick pivot that we made. We had to pour some pads for the pay stations that were not originally budgeted for. There was the cost of the cellular service.
We accounted for. This is just the construction or signage items done.
So then I think it is just that then.
Yep.
I think it's
Yep.
just those two items.
Yep.
Thank you, Ben.
And again, this is probably more than we need.
Yeah. Other public comment? All right, Abby, call the roll.
Commissioner O'Ree,
Yes.
Commissioner Fernandez,
Yes.
Mayor Thomas.
Yes.
Commissioner Binkley,
Yes.
Commissioner Sorolla.
Yes.
Thank you, Ben.
Thank you, Ben. You may not know, Ben's kind of quiet, but he's really, really good at his job and we really appreciate him.
All right. That concludes our agenda items and now we are on to city comments, city manager comments. You got anything for us?
I do. I will echo that Ben is really, really, really good at his job. I'll also add that I so enjoy working with him. I am also looking for some language that Steve sent to me. Steve suggested that we highlight our fallen officer, who we honor every year at this time, Francis William Lemunian, St. Joseph City Police Department, who was killed while on duty, June 23rd, 1927. Steve, you want me to read this? Just want to pause to honor him and thank him. I understand it more today than I ever have before, how hard our public safety department and our first responders work and how many directions they get pulled in, from directing traffic at Silver Beach to some much more serious and scary things. They are always there. And I am appreciative of them, and I'm appreciative of those who have come before them. Are you going to talk about the ribbon cutting?
Oh.
If not, I would like to.
Go ahead.
The Kaleidoscope Playground ribbon cutting is coming up next week on June 30th from 4 to 6 p.m. Thank you. At Kiwanis Park. It is going to be, you can drive by and see it, an extraordinary playground for kids of all abilities. And it is such a gift to our community that we have it. And I am so excited to bring my children there. I hope I can bring my kids to work from 4 to 6 p.m. on the 30th, because we will be there. We're thrilled. So looking forward to that.
Wonderful.
That's all I got.
Thank you. All right, commission comments. Nope.
Again, want to celebrate, we talked about some of my favorite topics today, housing, zoning, and how to address those things. A lot of what are now barriers to doing the types of things that we did tonight, came from the best intentions, back in, 50, 60 years ago. They made regulations that worked for the time, and those solutions of yesterday have become kind of obstacles today. But tonight's been a really great example that I, again, want to just celebrate on. We have to tackle those issues and move forward, for the very sustainability of our city. And so I'm very proud of what we've accomplished this evening.
This Saturday, I think we're kicking off some of our public engagement at the farmer's market this Saturday. So I will be there. I will be at the farmer's market this Saturday and have committed to quite a few of them over the course of the year too, just in an effort to connect a little bit more with residents that might not be reaching out directly.
Good job. Yep. Any others? No, let's see. We got a couple things coming up. Obviously, we have the fireworks on the 3rd, so everyone come out and celebrate. Last week was Juneteenth. Anything else that we want to highlight for events in the city? No? All right, I think that's everything coming up. So we will end the meeting at 8:17 p.m.